Hey guys, and welcome to part 2 of the video. Now that we've done all the cutting out that we have to do, we're going to be doing the gluing and the painting. For those of you that haven't seen the first part, I recommend you go and watch that first. For all those that have, let's get started. Finished this, you will need to let the glue set. Because it's PVA, it's going to take at least a couple of hours. You don't need to wait for it to set completely, but unless you want to completely ruin your brushes, I'd recommend that you wait until the glue is dry. Now once the glue is set, the next step is to undercoat the whole thing. Make sure that the glue isn't wet anywhere, and just in case, use a brush that you don't really care about. If the glue isn't dried in all places, you might ruin your brush. I've done it a couple of times myself. Get your paint out and just a plain black undercoat, the same way that you usually do it. And there you have it. Both are undercoated. So now all we have to do is wait till the paint dries off, and then we can start dry brushing. And then we'll lastly finish off the base and the piece will be finished. Okay, so now that it's all dry, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be dry brushing. If you took out a bit too much black paint when you were basing it, then you can just use that. What you want to do is just use some white paint and mix in just a small amount of the white paint into the black, so it makes sort of like a dark grey color, and you'll progressively be mixing in more white. So start off with like a dark grey, and you'll just be moving up through lighter and lighter greys. Depending on how far you want to go, you can either stop at like sort of medium grey or go for light grey, or you can go all the way to white. Each time you're going to be dry brushing less and less so that less paint stays on, and you're going to be doing it more lightly. And now for the final part, the base of the model. You want to use one of your older brushes that you don't mind getting glue on and completely stuffing up really. If you have a glue brush already, then just use that one. Just the standard basing procedure, I guess. Put glue on the base, however much you feel is necessary. Spread it. Make sure you get it in the corners, but try not to get it too much on the actual terrain. It doesn't matter if you do, the grass should be slightly on the bricks as well. If you have some kind of moss that you want to put on the bricks, then you can actually put the glue on the actual bricks. Sometimes what I do is, before I actually paint the model, if I'm basing it before I paint the model, I put the glue on the bricks as well and put some sand on the actual bricks, and that way you get sort of like a nice rough looking texture on the bricks. This time I'm not going to be doing that. This time I'm just going to be basing it with grass and those rocks and those two stones that I selected before. I might not even use those stones because it turned out that these walls are quite large compared to the base. Okay, and once you've finished it, you just leave the glue to dry. What you can do is, if you're using the underbush, you can either do it at the same time, or you can do it after the glue has set. Or what you can do is, once you've finished with that, you just take out a few pieces of the underbush, and what you're going to do is just put some glue on top, so like sort of on top of the grass, I guess. For this you'll want a patch where you'll either need to make a patch or leave a patch where you didn't put the grass too thickly, so like there isn't too much excess grass on that patch that you're going to be putting it on. And you just put a blob of glue down and choose whichever underbush you want to be using and just stick it there, and hopefully it's going to last. You can also put these in between the bricks and you can use it as sort of like moss-like objects. It doesn't matter if some pieces don't stick at the moment. Once the glue has dried, you will be tipping the pieces off, and then if any excess stuff will fall off. If after that you feel like there's bits and pieces missing in some places, you can always fill them in and just let it dry again. And that should be all. That's going to be your finished walls. Now, here are some pieces that I've finished previously. I've put some models for size comparison. So these are your standard sized Lord of the Rings models that you have here. And so this is about sort of like a waist high wall that you have here, and it's 2 bricks high. Some walls are slightly larger, so like the model would have sort of like full cover from this angle, but from this angle the model would be able to shoot. I've made a bunch of different walls, so like this wall for example is completely crumbled, and then there's a whole bunch of corners, because corners are probably the easiest things to make and easiest to place as well, because when you place a couple of corners you can easily make a sort of large building or the remains of a large building. I've got a couple of larger ones, so like this could have been like a tower or just some small stone brick building, and there's only a small entrance here, so that would be a nice defendable position. When you're making these walls, feel free to experiment, so make whatever you want. This is one of the experiments that I made, so it's a wall with the remains of a doorway, and you can actually go through it, which just it adds variation to your walls. And at the end of the day, you don't really want any of your walls to be the same. So like this is just a sort of like a pile of stone bricks. It's not even a wall, but it can still be used as part of terrain. I've also made a slightly larger piece, and it's this. It's sort of like your, instead of using a hill, you can have this as sort of like your objective, or like the main defendable area that you have on your map. With this, you can also have this kind of a statue or a fountain, like a ruined fountain, or just anything that you can think of, and have it as a objective marker. You can always just put the marker anywhere else you want, but this, it sort of like fits nicely in this well defended area, and that could be like a, I don't know, hold out so and so many rounds sort of mission. And lastly, I've also made walls with those double sizes bricks. So like this is 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters by 4 centimeters in size, these bricks. And these really provide a sort of like a larger wall which can be used as a castle wall, and even two of them are model high. So a model can fully hide behind a wall of this sort if it's just 2 blocks high. I've made a whole bunch of these, so I usually put these on the outskirts of the actual sort of ruined town, and as you can see, there's once again just sort of like the crumbled couple of bricks. There isn't really a wall, but because the bricks are of such a massive size, it can be used for cover quite easily. I've got a couple of slightly different pieces, like this one. Say it's missing a middle piece which has fallen down, for example. Just let your imagination run free, really, and whatever you come up with usually works. Some of the walls, like for example this one here, it's got a sort of larger hole in it. It doesn't actually go through the hole, but like through the actual wall, but the hole is it sort of signifies like a larger impact. I don't know, a cannonball, or some troll hit it with its hammer, or I don't know, some strong spell. And that's all for this video. I would like to thank you for watching, and if you do like the video, then just hit the like button. If you have any recommendations at all, any comments, any suggestions, or ways that you would like to do it differently, post it in the comments, and please really post it in the comments, because I've taken so many suggestions out of the comments and have implemented them in my terrain making. This way is by no means perfect, so if you think you can improve any of the pieces, upgrade them in any way, post it in the comments, and we can discuss it there. If you have any suggestions on what I should make a tutorial for, either put it in the comments or send me a private message, and by popular demand I'll make whatever is most requested. Yeah, once again, thanks for watching.